Hello everyone, welcome to Adaptive Fashion Vids. Today we'll be learning how to adapt using magnetic zippers. So to start off, I'm just showing how difficult this jacket has been to align and get the zipper to go up on it. This zipper has been a little bit stuck lately, but even if it wasn't, it wouldn't be as accessible as the magnetic zipper. So we're going to be replacing this zipper with the magnetic zipper today. This is called Mag Zip, and I'll link it below. I found this on Amazon. Some companies have been using this within their own jackets, but that is largely unavailable now, so this is something that might be beneficial to replace on your own jackets. So to start off, I'm just going to take my scissors and go up the seam of the zipper. So I'm just trying to take out the zipper and not damage the jacket itself. And this zipper is enclosed in the jacket, so just being careful to not get those seams in the jacket into the scissors. So this is what it looks like after, just taking those zippers and throwing those to the side, and this is what you're left with. So I'm going to start aligning the zipper underneath the jacket, and I started pinning this in place, just trying to get everything aligned, not trying to get the jacket into the teeth of the zipper, but also getting it pretty close. That way there's not too much difference in color there. So I'm just pinning this in place, and the bottom portion was really thick, so it was hard to get my needle through. So I did have to go above that bottom portion there. And I just went through and pinned it all in place. This zipper can be used to make a variety of clothing items more accessible. So this can be added to jackets, coats, vests, really anything with a zipper that has the ability to have that bottom piece a little bit bulkier at the bottom, because that is a bit large, especially to add to pants. So I think I would stick to something on the upper body for that. Overall, I think this zipper is a great option for people with disabilities. It has that magnetic zipper that doesn't require a lining of the two pieces, so it doesn't require that pinch action. So it could be helpful for someone with limited hand movement, limited arm movements, someone with arthritis that it's painful to move their fingers and to hold on to a zipper to align it. So really a wide range of people with disabilities could use this zipper, and also it is able to be aligned with just one extremity, and it is a quicker, easier way to align a zipper, so it could be beneficial for a lot of different populations. So I'm just taking my pins and lining it up, and I did notice a few little straggly pieces of thread from the previous zipper, so I just went ahead and took my scissors and trimmed those up just to have a neat finish. So I'm just kind of doing that as I go, as I pin here, and I'll just continue to do that all the way up. And this is what the jacket will look like when you have everything pinned in place, and this is ready to go to the sewing machine. So here I'm just figuring out where I will be sewing. I would really like to stay on this line here because that would sew on an existing seam, and that would be a bit more hidden than if I was making my own new seam. And you saw me flip over the bottom portion of that. I was just making sure that the zipper would be included if I did sew on that seam. If it were too far off to the side, then it wouldn't get the zipper, and then it wouldn't be sewing the zipper in place at all. So I'm just sewing along that seam line right here, and I'll do that all the way up to the top. And it is more difficult to get the bottom portion sewn in because the bottom of the zipper is so bulky. So I was able to do that here, but it did take a little bit more time. So with zippers, most of the time you want to start at the bottom because you cannot cut the bottom off, but you can cut the top portion off. So it's easier to adjust if you stay at the bottom and go to the top and just cut off excess rather than try to adjust it to go from the top to the bottom. So here I wasn't really thinking about that, and I pinned going in the wrong direction. So typically you want your pins to be able to pull out toward you and not away from you. So that is something that I could have done better. So I'm just going along and taking these pins out. You can see it's a little bit more difficult here than it would be if I was pulling them out toward me. So I'm just sewing on the seam line here, and I'm taking out pins as I go. And I did realize that because this is a more slippery material, it did get bunched up when I was pinning. So I went ahead and took out more pins than I probably would have if that didn't occur. But I did find it to be easier to just hold the jacket in place as I was sewing. Going back, I probably wouldn't have pinned the jacket at all. But that's something that probably comes with more experience sewing and experience lining up the zipper and the other fabrics. So just do that as much as you're comfortable with. If you don't want to pin, that's totally fine. I went ahead and took out the pins on the other side, and it worked out just as well. So I went ahead and sped up this clip, just sewing everything in place. And then when I got to the top, I did a few back stitches just to secure the zipper at the top portion, because that is somewhere that it does need to be a little bit more secure. But I just went up to the top portion of the teeth of the jacket zipper, and then I'll take my scissors and go around the excess material. And I am making sure to make those curved edges instead of that straight corner, just to avoid any potential of additional skin irritation. So if I can minimize that risk, I will. And then I'm just taking off the excess threads here just to clean up the look a little bit. But I do want that zipper to hide behind the jacket. So I'm just making sure that it's hidden behind that jacket here, and then trimming up the threads. And here I'm going to sew the other side of the jacket and zipper together. I wasn't able to get that bottom portion of the zipper under my foot of my machine to sew it in place. So I'm just holding everything together like I want it. And I'm going to start a little bit above the bottom portion of the zipper and jacket. And I'm just sewing along the seam line like I did on the other side, and taking out pins as I go, just making sure to keep everything in place. And after I finish sewing the zipper and jacket together, I'm going to go ahead and take the scissors and round the top portion of the zipper, again like I did on the other side, just to reduce the risk of skin irritation. So I'm just rounding those edges and making sure it hides behind the jacket like shown here. And then I'm just going to take it and go through the sewing machine one more time, just to reinforce those seams at the top of the jacket, because that is somewhere that needs to be a little bit stronger, and it didn't seem so strong when I was cutting it. So you can always add additional reinforcements as needed. So here's the jacket here. So now I'm taking the jacket and going back to the bottom portion of the zipper to sew that in place. So coming at it from the top to the bottom is allowing my sewing machine to really get to where it needed to be before, just coming in at that different angle. You could probably switch out your presser foot if you have those, but I don't have any other ones, so I'm just using this one and adjusting my needle as I go. So sometimes I'll move my needle more to the right or more to the left, but after you get it sewn in place, just figuring out whatever you need to do with your machine, you can just go ahead and cut all of the threads to get a more finished look, and that's all the sewing that we'll be doing. And this is what it looks like at the end and kind of how it works. So pulling it apart, putting it together, it does align if the zipper is at the bottom portion of the zipper. And to make this a bit more accessible, you could add a cord toggle or a loop to the zipper just to allow someone to grab the zipper a little bit easier. So this is the final product. For more information about adaptive fashion and beauty products, please visit the resource page at unitedspinal.org. Thanks for watching.